let's call a spade a spade. For me, my opinion is the NYSC has outlived its usefulness. Most of the things your student is talking about as gains are not gains per se. These are things that even civil society organizations carry out without the kind of budgetary allocations that NYSC has, and they benefit from. When you say graduates are feeling bad because they were not called, they could not serve, which graduates, please? Let's take a roll call. Tell me, tell graduates to call in now and tell you, I have 3 of them, and none of them will willingly go for NYSC if it is not compulsory. It is the compulsory nature of NYSC that is making them go for NYSC. A lot of them would rather use that period to make ends meet in the country we find ourselves right now. The economy is bad. Security is worse. The system itself is corrupt. NYSC is one of the most corrupt schemes in Nigeria. If you know the level of corruption in NYSC, just call a copper and tell them the amount of money they get to pay in case they are sick and they miss CDS, just to be able to be cleared. Call an NGO and ask, or an organization and ask when they request for coppers. Write letters. My organization has sent in letters requesting for coppers. I didn't get any because I couldn't grease hands, despite the fact that I had good accommodation and pay for the coppers. Or because I couldn't grease hands, I didn't the coppers I requested for. So in a nutshell, for me, the NYSC should not be scrapped, but it should be rebranded. Its focus should be more of generating revenue for the country, rather than, because this is manpower we are talking about. The other time, the Northeastern director of the organization was saying they have about 400,000 corp members annually passing through the NYSC. That is enough manpower to grow the agricultural sector in this country, to grow the tech in this country. Why not set up regional farms? We have 6 regions in this country. Why not set up mega regional farms? Digitalize that has the best.
All right, Dandyson, thank you, but we have to go to
husbandry, have the agrarian sector and all.
Thank you. We have to go to Rumukwarali. Salvation is on the line.
Walk there.
Thank you, Dandyson from Achipeste. Salvation, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. On the issue of the NYSC, I think the NYSC is not really serving the interest of the youth at this moment, on my own view, because the NYSC is like the government is using it as a form of a cheap labor. Whereas I think that's the major aim the government wants to retain that NYSC. Now, imagine we take coppers and you use them for 1 year and you allow them to go. Now, most establishments do not even care if they want to employ anymore. For example, an establishment that needs like 20 workers, they can just decide to employ only 5, and they will hope that by the end of the year, 15 coppers will come. And when those ones will finish their time, they send them back. They hope to get another one. And those you see that have worked there, we go on the streets, roaming and looking for jobs. So I think in the interest of that cheap labor that made the government to retain, know that NYSC really serving any purpose for national unity. So that thing is that is not even working at the moment. So I think the NYSC needs to be reconsidered.
Just like maybe the previous caller before the last caller said, I think NYSC should not be scrapped, but it has to be rejigged. It has to be redesigned to meet the times we're in. 50 years ago, a whole lot has happened in the country. A whole lot. It's like almost a generation and a half, or just very close to 2 generations has passed. The things we faced fascination 50 years ago are not the same things that we're facing now. The economic situation of the country 50 years ago ain't the same now. Population ain't the same. So it goes on to tell you that we need a whole lot of rejigging. And if you tell me to be honest, the idea of NYSC is still perfect and is still needed, even as I think it's even more needed now, more than ever. Just like we were discussing with our guests, this elections period and the whatever that followed after it shows there's still so many divides, even amongst young people. So we need to rejig and I can understand NYSC is under attack. When somebody schools in the south and you tell him to, for instance, you're putting him to Zamfara, not so many people want to go. But of course, it's not NYSC's fault. They are not meant to provide security. The government is meant to provide security. So when there's no security in some parts of the country, it also affects the whole idea of NYSC. So you see, the whole thing is only NYSC, but the government has to play its own part. Then ultimately, just like I said, we need to rejig it to face or to combat our current challenges. So it will come out much better than what it is. But if we want to continue doing what we were doing 50 years ago, probably 50 years from now, we'll still have the same result and the same complaint.